When I'm doing video research, I can fall down some really weird internet rabbit holes, but this one is just wild. Okay, so did you know that there is an official Monsters, Inc. comic book, and one of the main antagonists in it is Sid from Toy Story? Well, obviously I had to track this book down, and now that I've read through it, I feel obligated to share what I found, because like I said, it's weird. Hello and welcome to Comic Drake, where I talk about comic books. My name is Drake. Let's talk about it. But before we get too far into things, I need to give a big thank you to my favorite recurring sponsor, Magic Spoon. As someone who's been trying to take my health more seriously, I've been cutting back on junk food in favor of healthier alternatives, and Magic Spoon fits the bill. For example, I really love the cocoa flavor, and I eat it by the handful when I'm working, and it scratches that sugar itch for me while also not being all that bad. Magic Spoon comes in at 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 4 net grams of carbs, and only 140 calories in each serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb, and surprisingly, it doesn't taste like cardboard. If you want to try Magic Spoon for yourself, then just go to magicspoon.com/Drake to build your very own variety box, including flavors like maple waffle, cinnamon, or blueberry, and make sure to use my code DRAKE for $5 off. If you aren't 100% satisfied, then you can get a complete refund, no questions asked. And they even started shipping to Canada and the UK. So once again, that is magicspoon.com/Drake and code DRAKE for $5 off. But anyway, let's get back to the video. So in 2009, Disney teamed up with Boom Studios for a line of short comic books based on Pixar films, with Monsters, Inc. Laugh Factory being made to continue the adventures of Mike and Sully. Interestingly though, a sequel to Monsters, Inc. called Lost in Scaradise was in the works for a bit, and man, it was intense, so quick side tangent to talk about that stuff. So the movie was going to be set a year after the first one and would have focused on Mike and Sully bringing Boo a birthday present, only to find that she had moved and an old lady connected to a respirator was in her place. The duo would explore the human world trying to find Boo, only to learn the closet portals weren't connected to specific homes, but rather people. They'd come to realize that time moved differently in the human world too, and that old woman they had seen was Boo. Upon this discovery, they would come back, Boo would recognize Sully, and then pass away. It's a pretty standard Pixar gut punch that we've come to expect, but Laugh Factory is significantly different and tells 4 short stories. And while they're not as dark and depressing as Lost in Scaradise, the second half of the series gets pretty wild. So the comic, written by Paul Benjamin and illustrated by Amy Mepperson, picks up right where the movie leaves off. Sully is now the CEO of Monsters Incorporated, and the company has transitioned away from scare power to laugh energy. And Mike Wazowski is killing it as the company's top amuser. But his co-workers are pissed because their props are getting stolen from their lockers, and they're convinced that Mike is the one behind it, sabotaging the competition in order to retain his position as top dog. Meanwhile, Sully's been using his position as the man, or monster in charge, to keep Boo's door off the grid, and uses it to visit her. Well, at least that's what he would be doing if he wasn't so busy managing the day-to-day operations of the company. To help get his best friend out of the dumps, Mike figures that if Sully can't find the time to see Boo, then Mike would just bring her to him. However, while Sully is at first delighted to see her, he tells Wazowski to take Boo back. After all, the government is keeping a close eye on Monsters, Inc. after the whole fiasco of Mr. Waternoose, and having a human child around would be a huge scandal. During this conversation, Boo sees a bunch of props shoved into Wazowski's locker, causing them to burst out. But hang on, Mike wasn't responsible for the theft. He's been framed. Randall is back and is trying to get his revenge on the duo. He's swiftly defeated, Mike's good name is cleared, and that's that. Issue 2. Waternoose escaped from prison and is hiding out in an off-the-books fear factory that Monsters, Inc. never officially opened. On top of that, he has completed the Master Door, an invention thought to be impossible that's able to connect to any closet in the world. Waternoose is using this device to scare kids so bad that they're too traumatized to laugh. All of this was done to discredit the power of laugh energy, and once Monstropolis is on the verge of an energy crisis, Waternoose is convinced they'll come crawling back to him and his scare technology. Mike pulls out an axe and tries to destroy the Master Door, but Sully holds him back, seeing the potential in the device. But by taking advantage of this diversion, Waternoose escapes through the door, prompting Sully to destroy it rather than go after him. See, although Sully did see the potential, he didn't want to become single-minded like Waternoose, and that's the very thing that he fears. Alright, y'all ready for the weird stuff? This is issue 3, Toy Worry. As you might expect from the name and logo, this is an official Toy Story crossover, which is weird because in issue 1, Mike very clearly references Toy Story as a movie. Actually, these books are chock full of Pixar merch and references, which implies that they're all fictional. But you know what isn't a work of fiction? This issue straight up opens with Sid bursting into Boo's room on the run from Mike and Sully. Apparently he entered the monster world through his sister's door, and has been running all over the factory to teleport all over the world in order to carry out his life's mission. Destroy every toy that he can find, since they, you know, came to life like a horror movie and traumatized him. Well, that's why Mike and Sully are after him, since seeing children's favorite playthings being smashed in front of their young and impressionable faces makes it pretty difficult for them to laugh afterwards. Now that he's in Boo's room, Sid finds a place to lay low, and Boo, thinking this is just a game of hide and seek, covers for him when the gang comes looking. Wazowski notices Boo's Jessie doll from the old Woody's Roundup TV show, and comments about how those are worth some serious bucks to collectors before going back through the door to try and find Sid. But on the way out, Sid sneakily puts a shoe in the way, holding the door open. See, I said sneakily because it's a sneaker. Tough crowd. Anyway, Sid takes off through the door, making sure to swipe the Jessie doll on the way out, because even though he's trying to destroy all of the toys, he is selling off the rarest ones that he could find for a profit. Well, when she realized that her doll was missing, Boo suits up and goes after the kid as well, going full-on Metal Gear Solid as she tracks him down. When they find Sid, Sully takes him out by straight up throwing Boo at him as if she was a baseball. Okay, it was just an empty costume though, thank God. With the day saved, Sid is thrown back into his house and his door is shredded, and Boo is taken back home, ending on a panel of Jessie winking to the fourth wall. Okay, last issue. You ready? So, Sid was somehow able to get to the monster world once again through yet another door, and apparently, he was able to find Randall and Waternoose and break them out of jail to basically form a gang with the express purpose of getting revenge on Mike and Sully. Waternoose wants to discredit them, making them outcast to society. Randall straight up wants to murder them. And Sid wants to use the door teleportation technology to become a gazillionaire in the human world. What is this plot? So this trio of terror are able to kidnap everyone and put them in a cell. Cecilia and Boo are able to make a break for it when the door opens, but then they're being viciously hunted through the human world. Thankfully though, they're able to find a door that's currently active and escape back into the monster world. And thanks to some good old snake bites and with the help of the authorities, this matter is put to rest, and that's the end of the comic. So there you have it. Now, Monsters Inc. did get a continuation with the spin-off series Monsters at Work, but I watched through about half of the series, and I don't actually think that it contradicts anything from the comics, so who knows. At the very least though, it was an interesting book to read. I would hesitate to call it good, especially since I'm not a fan of the art, but you know what? It's inoffensive and does exactly what it tried to do, so that's pretty cool. But if you like this video, then why not consider subscribing, or even watching another one? If you like this, I actually have another Disney video. It's on if Elsa could be considered an Omega level mutant if she was in the Marvel universe. It's a weird video for sure, and I'm actually pretty proud of it. I think it was pretty neat. So if you enjoyed this, maybe consider watching that. But anyway, I hope you learned at least a little something new, and hopefully, I'll see you next time.